Yeah, hello and welcome back to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We're just going to really listen to this update on Dianne Abbott. Now, we're not sure exactly where Labour Party stands because Kier Stammer is saying one thing and the um, released report um, that came to Dianne Abbott was that she's been well, not suspended. She's been barred from running in the next election. Um, Let us listen to this and we'll come and dissect this properly. It is very important we dissect this. She's a very important person in the Labour Party, and I'll explain why as we go further on. Let's have a listen.
Another story that's dominated through the course of the day, the status of the long-serving MP Dianne Abbott is still unclear after she told the BBC she'd been barred from standing as a Labour candidate in the general election, only to be contradicted by Sir Kier Stammer, who said no decision had yet been taken. Dianne Abbott was the first black woman to be elected to the House of Commons nearly 40 years ago. She was suspended from the party last year after saying that Jewish, Irish and traveller people faced prejudice but not racism. She later apologised and was allowed back into the parliamentary party yesterday. Well, we've been seeking further comment from Dianne Abbott. Reporters asked her various questions as she appeared in public a little earlier.
Will you be standing as an independent?
What have Labour said to you? Will you be standing as an independent?
Will you support Jeremy Corbyn as an independent?
What's your message to Kier Stammer?
Well, no comments there as those questions were fired at Dianne Abbott. Well, let's hear from the Labour leader, Sir Kier Stammer. He was asked questions also a little earlier in the day. Have a listen.
No, that's not true. No decision has been taken to bar Dianne Abbott. The process that we were going through ended with the restoration of the whip the other day. So she's a member of the Parliamentary Labour Party, and no decision has been taken barring her.
Well, that was Kier Stammer. Let's speak to Jacqueline McKenzie, a lawyer and a friend of Dianne Abbott. She's also a Labour Party member. Thanks, Jacqueline, for being here on the programme. I'll come to Kier Stammer in a moment or two, but I know you've spoken to Dianne Abbott. What has she made of the last 24 hours?
I haven't spoken to Dianne today, but in exchanges yesterday, she was completely shocked by the treatment meted out to her, particularly the revelation that a decision had been made since December, when all this time, some 13 months, she's been existing under a cloud of anxiety and fear. And it's absolutely really shocking that somebody in her position, someone who has been in the Labour Party for about 5 decades, she's a grandee of Labour, she's been a parliamentarian for 37 years, she's served her country and she served her constituents very well. And we've seen that evidenced by the fact that her ratings, her majority rather, has gone up exponentially each election. With the last election, which was so polarised and the issue of anti-Semitism so at the forefront of it, her majority was still 33,000.
Yes.
I've worked in Hackney, and I've seen Dianne. I've had roles that brought me into direct contact with the Jewish community. Her constituency has a huge Jewish community, and it's in a borough that's got the second largest Jewish community in the country. And I've seen her attend activities in the community, have a very close relationship with the late Rabbi Pinder. She's a very close friend of Rabbi Gluck. I think this is appalling that she's acknowledged that she made a mistake. It was offensive. She's acknowledged all of that. She's withdrawn the statement. She did the anti-Semitism training. Treat her with some dignity.
We were just playing the clip from Sir Kier Stammer. He has denied that any decision on her standing has been made. Do you think there are serious questions for the Labour leader to answer?
I think there's serious questions for the Labour leader to answer if he's really in the know. I don't know if he knows everything that's going on, but only last week we heard him say that a decision hadn't been made and that investigations were still ongoing, and that there was an expectation that there'd be a decision in time to be able to decide whether she could stand and be put down as Labour on the ballot paper and all of that sort of stuff. And we heard other Labour leaders say the same thing. And then we find out yesterday that a decision had been made in December. Then there was the leak that appears to have come from Labour headquarters that said she'd refused to take the anti-Semitism training, and then we find out that she had taken it. So I think it's all very disturbing, and we understand this morning that Diane's own words were that she was barred from standing. But later in the day, we've heard the leader say, well, that's not the case. Now, who's driving this process? What is really going on? What role is her local constituent party playing in this?
So those are the questions that you want answered. A simple couple of questions here. Does she want to stand? And if she can't stand as a Labour candidate, will she stand, do you think, as an independent?
I don't know what her wishes are. I have a feeling that from the outset, if Labour was of the view that, you've had, almost 4 decades in Parliament, there's lots of young people coming up who we'd like to perhaps run a new candidate, we'd like you to go off and do something else. We accept your apology. We acknowledge that you've done this training. We acknowledge your good record of service. I think Dianne might well have decided to stand down. But I think what has been missing from this process, which has not been transparent at all, has been her, any consideration given to her. And the fact that she's finding out what her fate is at the same time as the rest of the country through a leak is really quite shocking for somebody of such historical importance. I think in terms of whether she can stand as an independent, my hunch is that she's not going to, because the machinery needed to do that in the time available is such that I don't think Dianne has that capacity. I don't know that for sure. That's my hunch. And I think she'd like to be able to think about whether she'd want to stand in the next election or whether she'd want to gracefully stand down and do something else.
Jacqueline McKenzie, we have to leave it there, but we're grateful for your time. Thanks for speaking to us.
So let us dissect this. Firstly, there was a leak. I was alluding to that earlier on in the broadcast, trying to find the right word. The right word is, of course, a leak from the Labour Party that she had refused to attend the anti-Semitism course, so hence they were trying to justify why they are barring her from standing in the next election. But it subsequently came out that she actually attended. You heard from the lady who was interviewed on BBC. All of this looks really bad because now Kier Stammer, it appears, I am a Labour supporter in the UK. Yes, and to be honest, I am not really happy with the way Dianne has been treated. She wasn't allowed to speak at the in the Parliament when a certain somebody from the Conservatives said she deserves to be SHOT. And words to that black woman. I just don't like that. Black woman, that kind of thing. And it really, I am disappointed in Kier Stammer myself, and I'm saying it. I know this will probably go out. I'm disappointed in Kier Stammer because I felt that he should have stood up for somebody who has been a stalwart, and he's a stalwart of the Labour Party for over 40 years. Over 40 years. She has been a staunch member of that Labour Party. She won elections. She's the first black woman to be an MP. That deserves a certain level of respect. Nobody, of course, is perfect. People may have issues with what she said, maybe the delivery and all of that. Gracious as she is, she accepted and she retracted those words and apologized. She apologized. APOLOGISED. Yes, she apologized. And she went on a course, anti-Semitism course. The very thing that the labor machine were trying to portray as though she didn't attend. She did attend. And then she got when she was told that she is barred from running, from contesting elections. And now Kier Stammer is having to step in and say, oh, no decision has been made. Well, it doesn't look good. I'm sorry, it doesn't look good. And I, for one, I do not accept, and we should not treat someone like Dianne Abbott in the manner in which he's been treated. After all, there have been others who have said far worse, and they are still in the party. It seems to me that there is one law for one set of people, another law for another set of people. That's not equity. In my opinion, that is not equity. I am highly disappointed in the way this has been managed. For over 40 years, like the lady in this program was saying, and she was alluding to, if they had a discussion, we'd like to bring some young people in. We would like you to we have a role for you or something in that manner. That then she can willingly say, okay, yes, in that way. But the manner in which this has been dealt with from day one, and I did not feel Kier Stammer should have told the speaker to say, no, actually we must hear from the lady who has been badly treated by this man. And it seems as though what happened to her has just been swept under the carpet. And that speaks of underlying racism. I'm sorry, we have to say it. It speaks of underlying racism. Oh, it doesn't matter. We don't need to hear her voice. Of course, she's an African woman. That's the reality. That is the reality. And these are things that I don't feel that the entire system, including, and the conservatives shouldn't think they're coming here and, we did look at, no. They are just as bad. I'm disappointed in the conservatives and I'm disappointed in Labour. Very, very, particularly so the Labour. But I'm waiting. I and many others are watching. The way she has been treated is very unfair for somebody who has been part of that party. And okay, we're going to wait on what he's saying in terms of the decision has not been made. If the decision has been made that she should not contest, it's not even not contest, but she's been barred from contesting. That's a bad look for Labour, in my opinion. It's a very bad look. And people will make their decisions based on that. I, for one, do not see Labour in the way they've handled this. They've handled this terribly. And let us see what the final result is, because clearly there's been some attempts to throw some things in and leaked memos and everything else and all of that. But let us hear the final word. If we will take Kier Stammer at his word. If he says the decision has not been made, then let's wait for the decision, and let us actually hear a clear, coherent message in that manner. I'm a Labour supporter, but like I said, this issue for me it is very, very important, very extremely important. How you treat African women, you must treat them with respect, absolute respect. Particularly a stalwart, a grandee of the Labour Party. She served for over 40 years. So we will watch this space. I'll reserve judgment. I was going to say something, but when I listened to what Kier Stammer said, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt from there. I was going to say something more, but I'll hold fire. I'll hold fire for now. We will let's just see what comes out. But I'm not happy that the way the case with Dianne Abbott has been handled. For her not to have been allowed to speak in the parliament when she was the center of the discussion, she was the person that at which this hateful comment made by that man was said, and she wasn't allowed to voice. Do you know what that means? Do you know the message that is sending out to Africans in this country? Have you considered that? Have you? I need everybody involved in this, conservative and Labour, to think about that. Have you considered the fact that the lady who was carrying out her job, and the man, because of his deep bigotry, said what he said, and because he's providing funding for the Conservatives, so he gives him carte blanche to say whatever he wants. That's why I said it's one law for the one set of people and another law for another set of people. That message is something that many Africans, we see it, and that is why I'm speaking up for Dianne Abbott, an MP I greatly respect. Nobody's perfect, of course. Let anybody who is perfect stand up. Let's see. She said what she said, and if you understood the context, it is done. She's apologized. There are others who said far worse, and they've not even had this level of scrutiny. That's the plain fact. So we'll be waiting. We'll wait to see what Kier Stammer says. The result of the report. I'll hold fire for now. Anyway, you've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? It is something that is of immense importance, and it's something I felt we could not ignore, and that's why we had to really, go and look at this report closely. And of course, it was carried by BBC, but we are discussing it as a topic on this platform because it is something of particular importance, bearing of the fact that she's an African woman, and the treatment that she got in that parliament speaks to the level of treatment that we tend to get as people, within the system, shall we say. Don't get me wrong, there are improvements and things, but there are things. This what has been happening to her of late is totally unacceptable, and I hope that Labour takes serious note of this. We'll be watching this space. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Let us, please, before you go, subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up, and help us grow the platform. Thank you so very much. I'll later on. And before you go, let me make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up and help us reach more people. We really do appreciate your support. Help us grow the platform. We need to reach a wider audience. We are talking on a wide range of issues, African issues, particularly issues of interest in the UK, because we are part of this community in the UK, and we must, have our say in the discussions and how things are going, particularly when it impacts us as well, directly and indirectly. So that's why we are bringing programs like this, and we will touch on more as and when we see it. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much. You've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power about later on. Thank you, and bye for now.